Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to this night-ending bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go, and yes, folks, they do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this night-ending bonus upload, shall we? I talked to two people that, both really blew me away. The first is a gentleman named Lee. He is a retired math teacher, a man of equations, facts, answers. He lives just outside of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And he blew me away with the information this guy has. I will be interviewing him. He has told me an amazing story, shared some things with me, and when someone shows me pictures and they say, Jeff, this is my research, I cannot share this with the public yet. As much as I want to share it with you guys, I can't. I have to respect that. Just like anonymity. My word is my bond. I really think this gentleman will quite possibly have the information that we all want. He right now lives, like I said, he's retired. He lives to figure out the truth. The guy I spoke to after him, things started to get put together, and you'll see why very soon. We were talking about how he had some trail cams set up, and he went to collect his SD cards. They were messed up. Dates, times were changed. There was just a really strange, I guess not photos, but yeah, photos. He contacted the company who made the trail cam, and they were like, our trail cams don't produce this. The only way this happened is someone took your SD card and put it in a computer and messed with the dates, the times, and put them back. How strange is that, right? His response was, no one knows where my cameras are except me. And then, this is a man of math, not science. See, he explained some things to me. I had a great conversation with this guy, and he shared, okay, so when you're dealing with math, you get an answer. You get the answer. Einstein proved that there were dimensions beyond ours with mathematics. With science, you have to factor in variables and this and do this test and run the test 4 times and yada yada. And then you get that answer that Einstein got. It just took a long time. So we're talking, and he had said maybe these things don't exist on the 3D realm. Maybe they are from alternate dimensions, right? And I'm blown away because it's hard for you guys to hear it from me because you weren't there and you didn't hear it, and that's why I'm gonna have him on. But there's been 2 people that have dropped my jaw with the knowledge, information. Tim Baker being one, Kuhnbo, and Lee being the second. The other gentleman that I spoke to tonight or last night, the only reason, well, my jaw did drop, but the only reason why is because I started to add things up to what Lee had shared, and then I started to think about all these other crazy encounters, right? So imagine living, you've got a nice farm field, beautiful land, like 9 acres, I think. You got about 4 inches of snow. And you see these tracks coming out. Bipedal tracks, right? Coming out. And then all of a sudden, they just go whoosh, like that. The weird thing is the tracks are singular, going this way, right? So foot, foot, foot. And then that continues, but then there's another one. They're using right angles. This man knew Linda Godfrey. He had taken some pictures with Linda Godfrey. He was in the mist. He was in this mist. He kept talking about this mist. And I cannot wait to have him on because it blew my mind. Just when he was in this mist and someone had taken a picture, you could see the part that wasn't in the mist, but the other part was not visible. It was either blocked out by some kind of electromagnetic, or this mist had come from an alternate dimension. All right. And I know this may sound far-fetched and scientific and yada yada, but we're talking about a bipedal dog-like creature, or a bipedal mega hairy primate, or some kind of gangly white freak show creature. He's seen deer cleaved. He brought this deer to the butcher, and the butcher said, he's friends with him. He didn't tell him where he found it or what happened. Well, he said, I found this. What could have cleaved this vertebrae? Like, just not jagged. The butcher said this had to be done not with a saw, but with like a razor sharp cleaver. And then he made the comment after that, because he hangs out in his barn. He's got this like room in his barn where he does his research and stuff. And he said, I don't know what's scarier, thinking possibly there may be someone walking around my field with a cleaver, or it actually being the Dogman doing this. And then he started talking about how they may use tools. Actually, he said they use tools, which then brought me back to think about Tim Van Drimeny and his theory backed by science about Neanderthal possibly being Dogman. The more we get little answers, like with the lab result, the first lab result I've got, I'm waiting on the second. I'm hoping Monday or Tuesday now for the second, but spotted hyena with an additional gene, does that mean that gene is enabled them to walk bipedally, intelligent? What? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out what that missing gene is in the next lab when it comes back. But if they are existing in a different dimension, then that explains a lot too. That explains the lack of pictures. That explains the ever so popular from the doubters, trolls, the potato camera. I showed him the picture that the Scottish lady had taken, where the Dogman had blended in behind the deer. He immediately saw it. He saw it. Some people, I had, let's say, 100 comments. 20 was like, that's a piece of whatever. Some saw it. This gentleman could see it because he's been taking these pictures for years. I mean, to work with the godmother or grandmother of Dogman, God rest your soul, Linda, shows you something that this man has really dedicated time, learned things just through not listening, but trying things. So then we started to talk about Bray Road. And many of you may remember the gentleman that I had on that talked about he lives in that area in Elkhorn. He works for a scientific company that what they do is they take shingles and they turn it into asphalt, old shingles. This gentleman knew what I was talking about. Exactly, he said I used their asphalt. They came and paved my area where my shed is. And I was like, yeah, he knows exactly. The water sampler, the scientist who samples water, talking about the Dogman down there. And I asked him about this location. And he said, I know right where that is. He goes, I can stand in my field and point to different locations where I live and say, this person saw this person saw that, this person saw a bean-shaped UFO. This girl right here at 9 years old was chased up a tree by a Dogman. The Dogman didn't climb up the tree, but just stayed at the bottom of the tree and growled at her for an hour. She waited 3 hours before she came down and went home. But why didn't it go up that tree? That's a weird question, right? So the amount of information this gentleman has was mind-blowing. And it really started to kind of make sense. You know, and then I had asked him, I said, there's a scientific writing or thesis that was written about inorganic beings and alternate dimensions. And that's when I said I believe scientists have admitted to finding that alternate dimensions exist. And he said, but mathematics solved that problem first. Albert Einstein. This mist, he keeps talking about this mist and these Dogmen creatures come out of this mist. So I want you guys to just think about that. Think about all the things that we have talked about on this channel and everything like that. It explains things. It really does. Maybe they can, with a wave of a hand or whatever, open a dimension. They've got to cross over somehow. But, and I've never really thought too hard about that because, it seemed kind of too far for me. Too far out of the realm. But, I have to really put it into the equation of everything now. I've been willing to accept the biblical thing. I've been willing to accept, everything else. So I'm going to accept this because it started making some real sense. And then the pictures that he showed me were just, that line of tracks through the snow. And you can see where it splits off, and there is no other tracks. And that's what I said. I said, now, when I see a picture, I really look at the picture. Like when I share videos on the channel and I say, it's up to you to decide, I already have my own decision, and I don't share it for a reason, all right? Because I want you guys to make that conclusion. But when someone comes at me with a picture, Jeff, check this picture out. Check this picture of the truck out with the park ranger and the claw marks. It's real. It's real. And then I look at the logo and I go online and I start to look and I'm like, no, that logo is not right. Well, maybe it may be this. Maybe it may be that. And I'll scan. And I'll break things down. I was breaking down that picture. And if it was humanly made, right? You're in 4 inches of snow. And you've got these tracks, and then they just split. If that was humanly made, you'd see human tracks or other tracks in that area. But you don't. You just see these tracks, and he's taking these pictures from far back. They're 4 feet apart. The stride is 4 feet apart. Show me a picture with a tape measure, measuring it 4 feet apart. He has found hair. I showed him the hair sample that I have. And he said, Jeff, that's very strange. It's very interesting. It's a very strange looking hair. It's gray. It's gray at the bottom. It's predominantly gray. But then there's these like specks of brown and black. And it almost kind of reminds me of a porcupine quill, but it's not hard. It's coarse, but it's not hard. It's definitely not porcupine quill. It's hair, but just the coloration at the top. It's that black and brown, black, brown, and then gray. I really think that this year we are going to have some answers. I really do. And then I was talking to this other gentleman, and he had emailed me about a week ago. Now, I have a ton of emails saved in my starred column that I have not gotten to yet because I'm always going. I'm always pushing forward. And if I'm not pushing forward with the channel, I'm taking care of my daughters. So I go through and I'm like, I got to get in touch with this guy. And he says, hey, I got some pretty crazy information I'd like to talk to you about. And I said, okay. He has worked with the government, he says, and I'm just talking to him on the phone. I have no way of validating that. So that's first and foremost. Like, I really want people to understand. I saw a comment in the comment section about Brad's video, and the guy was like, "You're really letting us down not vetting these people." How am I supposed to vet somebody? What am I supposed to be there 4 years ago when he had his encounter? You know, it doesn't matter who is running a channel. You can't vet somebody because you weren't there. You can just go by what they sound like, go by who they are, and get a feel of them. But I'm not going to tell somebody they can't share an experience on my channel because it doesn't match up with what I'm thinking. That would make me, in this channel, our channel that has been growing and budding, like other channels, and I'm not calling out channel, but like, or the community in a whole, where if you don't think they are religious, or if you don't think they are this, then no. If you don't think that they bleed or they could be killed, then you're out. If you don't think that they can't be killed or can be killed, you know, it's really crazy because we don't know. We really don't know anything. This is like a guessing game. So, but when you get the accumulation of experiences and then you start talking to the people, that's when you can make this puzzle. But that's crazy because that puzzle just keeps growing and it gets weirder. But Lee has some serious puzzle pieces that have been left out. Edward, who I spoke to, said he worked for the government. And he knows a little bit about the super soldier program. And I was like, okay. I said, tell me what you want to share. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And he was talking about how and it almost sounded similar to what Victor has shared with us, breeding camps, underground, DUMBs, which for those of you who do not know what a DUMB is, deep underground military base. I had Laura Eisenhower on this channel. She is President Eisenhower's great-granddaughter. He was a whistleblower. He warned us about this crap long ago. He warned us about the military-industrial complex. Laura has literally clarified and said they exist, man. There's no doubt about it. So this Edward guy says, you know, they weren't created by us. The government didn't create them. We are harnessing what they can do. Working almost with them, probably using them like our government does. It uses things to better itself, you know. But he said they have an ability to time travel. And I was like, I stopped him there. I said, wait, come on. I said, I know we're talking about cryptids and I know we're talking about this. I said, and I do believe there possibly is the ability that, you know, it exists. And then I thought about Lee and the dimensions, the other dimensions. And then I started to think about like what, the Manhattan Project, the Philadelphia experiment and things like that. And I'm like, geez, I'm crow. This may be something here. We may be hitting the nail on the head. Because if they are some sort of militarized creature that can travel in time using dimensions, I mean, it's not too far off or too crazy because what, about a year ago, 2 years ago, I was talking about how there had been a sighting of I don't know the right word of what Marines platoon or whatever, but there was a group of Marines that just popped out of nowhere in this field. they were, obviously aware of what was going on. They weren't like all confused. And then gone. What is that? Is that time travel, or is that popping in and out of dimension? And if they're in a dimension, they would time travel. Because time doesn't match up. Excuse me. There's no possible way of that matching up, It really does make a lot of sense. And when I have Lee on, I'm going to talk to him today. He wants to show me everything he's got. He wants me to go out to where he lives and check all this stuff out before we do an interview. But when we ended our call, he said, I'm like, I had a great time talking to you. And he said, you're a great guy. I really enjoyed talking with you. So I'm hoping maybe I can get him to just, he and I establish a relationship of trust. And that's another reason why he said, please don't show what I'm showing you now to anyone. I'm not. And I have to respect that, because I want him to come on and share this information with you all. Because it was so mind-blowing that my eye is twitching right now because of this, because I am so freaking excited about this. So we've got that. We've got this. Meeker has ramped down. Right? I mean, for 2 months, October, November, December, is headline news. It wasn't if you didn't know what to look for. If you caught cattle deaths, strange cattle deaths in Colorado, and you Googled it, it'd bring you up. But, it hit national news for, a week, 2 weeks, and then gone. The reason why it's gone is because there's no longer a threat there. It was taken out by a kill team that Carl and his friend didn't see happen, but his friend heard it. And where do you think that sample came from? And I'm going to buy a microscope so I can look at these hairs and let Lee know what I see, because he told me what to look for and stuff like that on my own. And he said, you really can't trust other outside. And I was like, well, it's my friend. I've known him. And he said, nah. Even though I do trust Drew. But so I think we are getting closer to not solving anything. I don't think we'll ever solve this in my lifetime. Probably not my daughter's lifetime. But I think that, like UFOs and UAPs, the government has finally admitted. Will they admit there's aliens with them? No. They've admitted the UFOs, but they have not admitted to aliens. That's one thing that you need to really look at in the papers, is they've never admitted to some sort of intelligent life form outside of ours. I just found it very eye-opening in this mist that he talks about. I'm almost thinking that's the shroud that they can, just go into the mist or whatever. I mean, I've heard a subscriber had said that she heard somewhere, I think it was like a, not a clairvoyant, but I don't know the exact name, but she heard this lady talking, and supposedly she had seen multiple dogmen be able to go into these kind of dimensions. And I giggled when I first heard it. I'm not going to lie to you. I did. I giggled. And I guess it's human nature, but now I have to really go like, dude, you've got to be more open-minded, Jeff. You really have to be. You have to think about all this stuff and analyze it. But this Lee gentleman really is the years of mathematics that he has solved as a teacher and this and that has driven him, has pushed him to study these creatures, this phenomena. And it's crazy because the way he was talking about it all, it matched up almost to like Skinwalker Ranch, you know? Cryptids, apparitions, UFOs. And I don't know if they're connected, but Skinwalker Ranch has had all of those. And he said in this area in Elkhorn, in that surrounding area, that they've had all of that. And I'm sure, I mean, I've heard of in the Hudson River Valley. The Hudson River Valley is a magnetic area. Linda Zimmerman, I believe her name is, wrote a book. And I read it a while back, but she was talking about how where the valley is in the mountains, and it's full of this magnetism, and it draws, you know, like satanic cults, cryptids, UFOs, etc., you know, apparitions. And here's the thing, and this just, if they are traveling through dimensions, right? Is that where Tom Messick went? Is that why we can't find Tom Messick? Is that what that metal sound was that they heard? Who knows? I don't know. We can make theories based on what we've learned talking to different people. But that really, as Lee was talking to me about all of this, that really struck a chord for me. And I was like, my brain was just going and going and going. I was tired after talking to him because I was thinking so much about this. And then my daughter had some crap come up that I needed to stop the conversation. And but I think he's onto something with that. What he shared just made so much sense to me, and I'm literally sharing it like these dimensions, this mist, and if they are, then that explains where Tom Messick went. But they are still a physical form too. So whatever tracked me on both sides as I'm walking down Lily Pond Trail, could that have, you know what I mean, guys? Anyway, I'm going to be talking to him today, but it was just an amazing conversation. And he said, how he said this next thing was, and I don't know if they're I don't know if they're malicious all the time. Because if they were, that little girl who was up in the tree, that Dogman could have easily gotten up that tree in a split second and taken her out and got, just... And then I shared the stuff with him about Cott County, Tennessee. There was tracks spotted in the dirt where Amber Miller, Tony Aarons were found. There were huge tracks found in Meeker, yet they didn't go anywhere. It's like they couldn't follow them. They were just there and then they were gone. So are they dimensional? It makes a lot more sense. The more I think about it, it does. And maybe that's why we're not getting these pictures. Because when that dimension opens, I mean, first of all, we don't know how dimensions work, but when that dimension opens, is there a magnetic pulse that comes out with it? Is that what forces this mist? Is that what, messes up the cameras, messes up time and dates in these SD cards? Because if you put a watch near a magnet, you can really mess that watch up. It really makes a lot of sense, guys. And I think that sharing this idea and theory by another person is a great way to open the ear, because are they dimensional? Yeah, I think they are. I really do. That would break down a lot of things. First, they can be killed, even if they can go dimension to dimension, right? But how did they disappear? We've always wondered that. Where'd they go? How did they disappear? Bam, there's your answer. But how can we kill them? Because they're dimensional travelers. They have some sort of ability to do that. I don't know. I really don't. And I'm not saying 100% that I'm buying the idea yet. But I'm pretty close, because where did Tom Mezek go? What was that noise heard? It makes sense to me. It really does. I'm going to talk to him sometime today. And hopefully I can get him to come on, because even if we can't see his photos that he wanted me to look at, because he doesn't want to share them with the world yet. And I can't blame him. I really can't. You can't either. Because if you can't tell me that if you had these photos, you'd want to share them with your name attached to them, because you know what? Do we want to be another statistic? Do we want to be another Andrew Dawson? I believe that was his name. I'm just going off the massive amounts of information going through my head right now. And if you don't know who that is, I'm talking about the Canadian TikToker that found or saw these giants on this mountain in British Columbia. I talked about it 2 months ago. And now it's hot topic to talk about. A little late, but people are talking about it. Bigger channels now, channels that aren't even in the cryptid realm, are talking about it like it's a new thing. But to me, to you guys that have been with me and watched all my videos, it's not a new thing. It's a tragic story is what it is. So that's how I'm starting the new year. Are they interdimensional, and does it make sense? Think about all of the accounts and the strangeness around it. And if you do, it makes sense. I just gave you a couple of examples. The feet, the footprints, the paw prints or whatever. There's 4 of them, 5 of them leading somewhere, and then they're gone. Or that random 1 footprint in the mud or snow. Random. With no other prints around it. Just some food to think about. All right, folks, so that was tonight's night ending bonus. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is, after all, your support that keeps the channel growing and going, and honestly what gives people a chance to share their experiences and theories judgment-free, simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. Thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.